After a relentless and punishing series of consecutive crises, Nicole has gradually descended into a state of profound physical and mental exhaustion. The sheer weight of the world seems to have settled squarely upon her fragile shoulders, leaving her drained of the vibrant energy she once possessed. For months, the audience has watched her navigate a labyrinth of personal and professional disasters, each one chipping away at her resilience. The human spirit, no matter how formidable, can only endure so much before the cracks begin to show, and Nicole is currently standing at the very precipice of total burnout. Her days have become an endless marathon of survival, where merely waking up and facing the morning requires a monumental effort of will. The vibrant, determined woman we have come to know is now operating on the fumes of her own perseverance, struggling to find a moment to catch her breath in a life that refuses to stop spinning. A significant portion of this suffocating pressure emanates directly from her mother. The maternal expectations placed upon Nicole have always been extraordinarily heavy, but recently they have morphed into an unbearable burden. Her mother's relentless demands, critical observations, and unyielding standards have created a toxic environment where Nicole constantly feels as though she is falling short. Instead of being a source of comfort and unconditional love during these turbulent times, her mother has become a primary source of anxiety. Every conversation feels like an interrogation, and every choice Nicole makes is subjected to intense scrutiny. This generational pressure has deeply embedded itself into Nicole's psyche, forcing her to constantly second-guess her own instincts and prioritize her mother's approval over her own emotional well-being. The emotional toll of constantly trying to be the perfect daughter while her own world is collapsing is a tragedy that has left her completely depleted. Compounding this familial stress are the severe complications she is facing in her professional life. The workplace, which for many serves as a structured escape from personal turmoil, has instead become another battlefield for Nicole. The continuous professional turbulence, high stakes decisions, and the relentless demands of her career have stripped away any semblance of stability she might have hoped to find at work. She is forced to navigate complex office politics, manage overwhelming responsibilities, and maintain a facade of absolute competence while internally she is crumbling. The necessity to put on a brave, professional face every single day, to smile through the exhaustion, and to execute her duties flawlessly is an act of emotional compartmentalization that is draining her last reserves of strength. She cannot afford to show weakness in her career, yet hiding that weakness is precisely what is destroying her from the inside out. Furthermore, the deep-seated traumas from her past have begun to resurface with a vengeance. When the mind and body are exhausted, the emotional defenses we build to keep past pain at bay begin to crumble. For Nicole, the ghosts of her previous heartbreaks, betrayals, and failures are no longer confined to the shadows of her memory. They are actively haunting her present. These unresolved wounds make her incredibly vulnerable, amplifying her current anxieties and making every new challenge feel insurmountable. The past trauma acts as a dark filter through which she views her current circumstances, making her fearful of making the wrong choices and terrified of experiencing that level of pain ever again. She is a woman fighting a war on three fronts: the demanding expectations of her family, the chaotic environment of her career, and the relentless echoes of her own traumatic history. It is within this crucible of immense pressure and vulnerability that Nicole finds herself agonizingly torn between two very different men, each offering a distinct path forward. The romantic dilemma she faces is not merely a choice between two suitors. It is a profound reflection of her own internal conflict. On one side stands Kial, a man who offers a raw, passionate, and undeniably sincere affection. Her feelings for Kial are deep and authentic, rooted in a powerful emotional connection that makes her heart race. He represents the kind of love that is thrilling, challenging, and deeply romantic. When she is with Kial, She feels a spark of the vibrant life she desperately wants to reclaim. His sincerity is a beacon of light in her otherwise dark world, and the emotional pull she feels toward him is something she can no longer ignore or deny. On the other side of this complex emotional triangle stands Carlton, a man who represents the absolute antithesis of chaos. Carlton is the quiet harbor in the middle of her raging storm. He consistently provides a profound sense of peace, unwavering safety, and absolute security. During the darkest, most terrifying moments of her recent life, Carlton has been the steadfast pillar she could lean on without fear of judgment or collapse. He does not demand emotional acrobatics. He simply offers a protective embrace and a stable presence. For a woman who is drowning in exhaustion and trauma, the temptation to surrender to the comforting, uncomplicated safety that Carlton provides is overwhelmingly strong. He represents sanctuary, a place where she can finally close her eyes and know that someone else is standing guard. This dichotomy has caused Nicole countless sleepless nights, exacerbating her already fragile mental state. The headache of choosing between the fire of Kial's sincere love and the comforting warmth of Carlton's protective nature has become a central source of her daily anxiety. She knows that choosing Kial means embarking on a passionate but potentially emotionally demanding journey, one that requires a level of energy she is not sure she possesses. Conversely, choosing Carlton means opting for safety, but she worries it might be a choice born out of exhaustion rather than true burning passion. She is paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision, terrified of hurting either man, and even more terrified of further damaging her own fragile heart. The weight of this choice has been the proverbial straw breaking the camel's back. Ultimately, after intense soul searching and countless moments of quiet desperation, Nicole reaches a pivotal breaking point. She realizes that she can no longer live in this state of agonizing limbo. She makes the courageous decision to finally face her own heart and confront the truth of her emotions, no matter how complicated they may be. Summoning every ounce of her remaining courage, she decides to have a deeply honest conversation with Kial. In a moment of profound vulnerability, she strips away her defenses and confesses her true feelings to him. She looks him in the eye and admits the depth of her sincere affection, acknowledging that her heart truly beats for him. It is a confession born of pure honesty, a release of the emotional burden she has been carrying for far too long. However, in that same breath of honesty, she refuses to diminish the vital role Carlton has played in her survival. She does not hide the truth from Kial or from herself. She openly acknowledges that Carlton is the person who has consistently made her feel sheltered, protected, and secure during the most harrowing chapters of her life. She validates Carlton's importance, recognizing that without his unwavering support and the sanctuary he provided, she might not have survived her recent trials. By acknowledging both Kial's sincere love and Carlton's protective peace, Nicole demonstrates a remarkable level of emotional maturity. She is no longer dealing in absolutes or fairy tales. She is facing the complex, messy reality of human connection and gratitude. Yet, the most profound revelation of this entire ordeal is not about which man she ultimately selects. After surviving the relentless pressure from her mother, the chaos of her career, the haunting of her past traumas, and the exhausting emotional tug-of-war between Kial and Carlton, Nicole arrives at a life-altering epiphany. She realizes that the most critical thing she needs at this exact moment in her life is not to choose a partner, but to choose herself. She recognizes that she cannot seek salvation in the arms of any man, no matter how sincerely he loves her or how safely he protects her. True rescue must come from within. She understands that entering into a relationship right now, while she is so deeply broken and depleted, would be a disservice to herself and to her partner. With a newfound sense of clarity and determination, Nicole makes the empowering decision to step away from the romantic triangle entirely. She resolves to channel all of her remaining energy and focus inward. Her primary goal is now the elevation of her own self-worth. She is committing to the hard, solitary work of healing her deep-seated emotional wounds, processing her past traumas, and rebuilding her shattered confidence. This is a declaration of independence, a promise to herself that she will no longer be defined by the expectations of her mother, the demands of her job, or her role in a romantic relationship. She is taking back the pen to write her own story, focusing on constructing a solid, unshakable foundation for a much stronger, more resilient future. As she embarks on this solitary path of self-improvement and profound healing, she holds a deep, genuine hope for Kial. Because her feelings for him are sincere, she does not want to drag him down into her current darkness. Instead, she earnestly hopes that Kiel will take this time apart to embark on his own parallel journey of personal growth and self-discovery. She wants him to focus on his own maturity, to confront his own demons, and to evolve into the best version of himself. She envisions a scenario where both of them, separated by circumstance but united by mutual respect, do the necessary work to grow independently. She knows that true love sometimes means letting go so that the other person can soar, and she hopes that this space will allow Kiel to flourish on his own unique path. Looking toward the horizon, Nicole holds a beautiful vision for the future dynamics between herself, Kiel, and Carlton. While she has firmly decided that she cannot be part of a romantic couple at this juncture in her life, she absolutely refuses to let the bonds they have forged turn into bitterness or resentment. She harbors a deep, sincere hope that despite the heartbreak and the shifting of boundaries, a profound sense of mutual respect will remain. She wants them to look back on this tumultuous period, not with regret, but with a deep understanding of the impossible circumstances they navigated together. She hopes that the intense emotional connections they shared can be gracefully transformed into something enduring and pure. Ultimately, Nicole desires nothing more than to cultivate a beautiful platonic friendship among the three of them. She wants to retain the sincere connection she shares with Kiel and the comforting safety she found in Carlton, but strictly within the healthy, defined boundaries of true friendship. It is a mature, enlightened perspective that speaks volumes about how much she has grown through her suffering. By choosing herself, setting firm boundaries, and prioritizing her own mental health, Nicole is not just surviving her circumstances, she is actively transcending them. She is transforming her narrative from a tragic tale of exhaustion and pressure into an inspiring anthem of self-love, resilience, and the beautiful, complex reality of adult relationships.